Hello, and welcome to the BA Knowledge Share. In this episode, we continue with the strategic analysis chapter of the BABOK Guide, and we continue with the first task within that chapter. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, let's look at the purpose behind the first task, and let's talk about the first task itself. So, the first task is analyze current state. The purpose behind that is to understand the reasons why an enterprise needs to change some aspect of how it operates and what would be directly or indirectly affected by the change. The description of the analysis of current state is the starting point for any change is an understanding of why the change is needed. Potential change is triggered by problems or opportunities that cannot be addressed without altering the current state. Business analysts work to help stakeholders enable change by exploring and articulating the business needs that drive the desire to change. Without clearly understood business needs, it is impossible to develop a coherent strategy, and the resulting change initiative is almost certain to be driven by a mix of conflicting stakeholder demands. Some of the elements of the analysis of current state is the basic business needs. So the business needs, as discussed in earlier episodes, are problems and opportunities of strategic importance faced by the enterprise. An issue encountered in the organization, such as a customer complaint, a loss of revenue, or a new market opportunity, usually triggers the evaluation of a business need. A business need may be identified at many different levels of the enterprise. You can look at it from the top down, which is a strategic goal that needs to be achieved. From the bottom up, a problem with the current state of a process, function, or system. From middle management, a manager needs additional information to make sound decisions or must perform additional functions to meet business objectives. From external drivers, customer demand or business competition in the marketplace. So examples of some of these are from the top-down approach, there may be some sort of regulatory changes that are happening that the company needs to be aware of and implement, such as a tax change or a change in the amount of loan that is given to customers. So those are the sorts of changes that would come from top down. From bottom up is basically, as an example, would be if in operations or even in a call center, customers are calling in complaining about very similar problems. In that, a good example is they're on the call and the wait is a bit too much for them. How do you solve for that problem? So that comes from the bottom up. For middle management, could be an example could be there is a process within operations that doesn't seem like it's working correctly, and the manager of that organization does not have the tools that he needs to solve for that problem. So how do we solve for that? So those are the sorts of needs from the middle management. External drivers could be customer demand or business competition. So in this case, it could be one of your competitors is basically implementing a new or rolling out a new marketing campaign, and so you're kind of left behind in that you are not able to do what they're doing and increase sales. So as a result, you decide, okay, we need to strategically implement this new marketing strategy. So those are the sorts of examples that you want to consider. The second element is organizational structure and culture. Organizational structure defines the formal relationships between people working in the enterprise. While communication channels and relationships are not limited to that structure, they're heavily influenced by it, and the reporting structure may aid or limit a potential change. The third element is capabilities and processes. Capabilities and processes describe the activities an enterprise performs. They also include the knowledge the enterprise has, the products and services it provides, the functions it supports, and the methods it uses to make decisions. Core capabilities and process describe the essential functions of the enterprise that differentiate it from others. Business analysts may use capability-centric view of the enterprise when looking for innovative solutions that combine existing capabilities to produce new outcome. A capability-based view is useful in this situation because capabilities are generally organized in a functional hierarchy with relationships to other capabilities. A process-centric view of the enterprise when looking for ways to improve the performance of current activities. A process-based view is useful in this situation because processes are organized in an end-to-end fashion across the enterprise to deliver value to its customers, making it easier to ensure that change does in fact increase performance. The other elements are technology and infrastructure information systems used by the enterprise to support people in executing processes, making decisions, and in interactions with suppliers and customers. Policies define the scope, and this is the fifth element. Policies define the scope of decision making at different levels of an enterprise. They generally address routine operations rather than strategic change. They ensure that decisions are made correctly, provide guidance to staff on permitted and appropriate behavior and actions, support governance, and determine when and how new resources can be acquired. The sixth one is business architecture. No part of the current state should be assessed in complete isolation from the rest. Business analysts must understand how all of these elements of the current state fit together and support one another in order to recommend changes that will be effective. The seventh element is internal assets. Business analysts identify enterprise assets used in the current state. Resources can be tangible or intangible, such as financial resources, patents, reputation, and brand names. The eighth is external influencers. There are external influences on the enterprise that do not participate in a change but might present constraints, dependencies, or drivers on the current state. You can have industry structure. Individual industries have distinct ways in which value is created within that industry. This is a particularly important influencer if a proposed change involves entering a new industry. Competitors. The nature and intensity of competitors between enterprise within an industry can be significant. The entry of a new competitor may also change the nature of the industry or increase competition. Customers. The size and nature of existing and potential customer segments can provide influences such as negotiating power and a degree of price sensitivity. Alternatively, the emergence of a new alternative ways that customers can meet their needs may drive the enterprise to deliver greater value. Suppliers. The variety and diversity of suppliers might be an influencer, but as can the power that suppliers have over their customers. And there's a political and regulatory environment. There's often influence from the current and potential impact of laws and regulations upon industry, technology, the productivity enhancing potential of recent and expected technological innovations might influence the need. Macroeconomic factors, constraints and opportunities that exist within the existing and expected macroeconomic environment. For example, trade, unemployment, and inflation might influence the need. So now let's look at the guidelines and tools of this specific section or task. One is business analysis approach. This guides how the business analyst undertakes an analysis of the current state. So you want to consider enterprise limitation, used to understand challenges that exist within the enterprise, organizational strategy. An organization will have a set of goals and objectives which guides operations, establishes direction, and provides a vision for the future state. This can be implicitly or explicitly stated. Solution limitation, used to understand the current state and the challenges of the existing solutions. Solution performance goals, measure the current performance of an enterprise or solution and serve as a baseline for setting future state goals and measuring improvement. Solution performance measures describe the actual performance of existing solutions. Stakeholder analysis results. Stakeholders from across the organization will contribute to an understanding and analysis of the current state. There are numerous techniques. I'm not going to go through it in too much detail, but some of the techniques used here are benchmarking, market analysis, business capability analysis, business model canvas, business cases, concept modeling, and so on and so forth. Stakeholders here are customers, domain subject matter experts, end users, implementation subject matter experts, operational support, project manager, regulator, sponsor, supplier, and tester. So that being said, let's kind of summarize. And we've been using Amanda as more of a case study person. Amanda is a project manager and actually is a business analyst who has been hired by a company to move a brick and mortar store to an online store. So let's see how Amanda would fit into this task. So in the first case, Amanda is going to be analyzing the current state. So in the current state, the pizza restaurant is a brick and mortar store, so they want to move it online. So she would actually understand, hey, what are the drivers that are influencing this change? So she would look at the business need. And in this case, it was found that the main driver of this are external factors. And the external factor here is basically COVID and the fact that people are going online. So it's also part of a bigger need in terms of digital transformation. The the um, the thought here is the business need is coming more from external drivers, and it's coming from top down as well. So it's part of the organization's strategic goal. The next one is she then considers the internal organization's policies. She also leverages the business architecture team to help her with her analysis. She looks at a couple of things in terms of, you know, what's driving this, and we already know it's the economy, it's COVID, as well as digital transformation. It could also be competitors moving online from brick and mortar, so they want to increase their business revenue as well. She she leverages the business analysis approach. She also considers various techniques like benchmarking, um, business capability analysis, business model canvas, and she also leverages many stakeholders here in that she uses rather interviews customers, domain subject matter experts, end users, implementation SMEs, operational support, project manager, regulator, sponsor, supplier, and tester. So that being said, this ends the first task within the strategic analysis chapter. And in the next couple of episodes, we'll cover the next few tasks within this chapter. So until then, please do consider subscribing to this channel if you do find value, and also do consider visiting our website at baknowledgeshare.com. We do publish articles there that are not on the YouTube channel, and we do send out newsletters on a monthly basis. So until next time, have a great time and look forward to seeing you then.